How's it going, everybody? It's JDM Drifter, and for this week's video, I'm going to be reviewing the COBI Lada 2103. So this is now my second COBI set that I've reviewed on my channel. I still have a couple of these to open that I've gotten a while back, but at the time I'm recording this video, I just got this one today. But unfortunately, the box got damaged in shipping. This wasn't packed very well and just mailed in a packet instead of a box. I had ordered this one off Amazon instead of the seller I'd got my other ones from on eBay. The other sets I'd been getting were from Poland. This one here came from Switzerland off Amazon. I'm not going to link the seller that I got these from in the description. I would not recommend buying any product like this off Amazon. The prices on these are just as high, if not a few dollars more than what they are getting them from Poland, and the shipping was way longer and my package came damaged. So if you do want to get these sets, I would recommend getting them off COBI Koski. I can put his eBay link in the description below. He's the one I got the FSO I did in my last video, as well as the 3 other cars I'll be doing soon. Even though the box is damaged, as long as none of the parts are damaged, it's okay. But that's why I decided to open this one instead of some of the other ones I got from Poland first to make sure nothing was damaged inside. I ordered this one off Amazon before I'd got any of them from Poland, thinking the shipping was going to be faster and I would actually guarantee I would get it. But I did end up getting it with a damaged box, and it did arrive about 4 weeks after the ones from Poland. Otherwise, if I would have known this, I would have just got this car from the eBay seller or not gotten this at all. But other than that, I will be doing another speed build of the full building process of this car and doing a review of it complete at the end. And I will also compare this to the FSO 125P as well. This car is definitely very similar to the FSO 125P, and I will go over all that later in the video. And I didn't bring out any of the other LEGO Speed Champions or City cars to compare this to, since I compared it in the last video, and this is the same scale as the FSO. And I did also test the compatibility of the COBI blocks to LEGO in my last video as well. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging before I open it up. Here's the COBI logo up here on the top of the box, as well as it says this is the Lada 2103. The set code is 24527, and this has about 98 pieces. The FSO had about 92 pieces. And this is also another one with glow-in-the-dark headlights like the FSO. I'll have to check that out as well later in the video. This is also 135 scale, and it does look like you do get a printed brick as well with the name of the car. And this is a part of the Young Timer collection, just like the FSO was. Here on the side of the box, it says this is copyrighted from 2020, and this is from Series 1 of 2020, and this is also made in Europe. As I mentioned in my last video, all the COBI products are actually manufactured in Poland. And here on the other side of the box, it shows the length, width, and height of the car in centimeters. And it also says that this car has pad printed parts with no stickers, just like the FSO. A few of these cars do have some window trim stickers, but as of now, the 2 I've opened do not. Unlike LEGO, a lot of their cars do have stickers, even for their high-end Speed Champions cars. And LEGO has parts made all over the place, and now majority China, and the quality has gotten way worse. That's why I was mentioning in my last video that these are way nicer products for about the same price with all printed parts most of the time, and these are manufactured in Poland. So here's the back of the box. It says again that it has glow-in-the-dark headlights. And here's the back view of the car. And here's some of the information about the Lada 2103. This car had a 74 horsepower motor, and the engine capacity was 1,452 centimeters. This also had 5 seats and was in production from 1972 to 1983. And the max speed of the car is 152 kilometers, which is 94 miles per hour. And the weight of the car is 1,030 kilograms and 2,270 lbs. And this is a Russian manufactured vehicle. And up here on the top of the box is COBI's website, and here is the little scan bar here to get more information about the car. So now let's go ahead and open this up so I can sort and check out some of the parts that this comes with. Okay, so here are all the parts out of the box. There's 5 bags total, just like the FSO, and none of these are numbered. None of the bags were torn or anything, and as of now, everything looks to be intact. And here's the instruction booklet that's also included with the car. It also does still say that these are pad printed with no stickers, and that the instructions are printed in Europe. And you can tell that this is a newer set than the FSO. This set came out in 2020. That's why there's all the Barcas, because these all came out in 2020. The FSO came out in 2019. At some point, I definitely want to get the Barcas truck here. At the time I was getting some of these, I couldn't find that one for a cheap price from a trustable seller. But there is the Barcas B1000 truck, the Barcas B1000 ambulance, Barcas B1000's fire van, and the Barcas B1000 police van. And all of these are also a part of the Young Timer collection. And here are some more cars from the Youngtimer collection. There's the FSO 125P, and other than that, I also have the Fiat 124, as well as the Lada 2101 to review at some point as well. There's also the Fire Chief Trabant 601, the Polski Fiat 125P, there's the Fiat 500 Abarth, and the 1965 Fiat 595 Abarth, and there's the Trabant 601 Police, and the Wartburg 353 Taxi. Definitely some pretty cool cars as well from the Youngtimer collection. The only other one really on here I want to get at some point is probably the Wartburg Taxi. And instead of showing some of the Maseratis like in the instructions of the FSO, here are some of the COBI Skoda cars that they make. The Skoda Fabia, the Skoda Karoq, and the Skoda Kodiaq VRS. Not too interested in any of these cars. We don't get Skoda cars in the United States as well, but none of these are too exciting. These just seem like more generic SUVs and hatchbacks. And you also do get a parts list as well here on the back of the instructions. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up all the parts and get everything sorted. So I've got everything opened up and sorted out. I didn't notice any damaged parts, so I think everything's good. But I did notice a couple cool pieces. Here's the chrome printed grille piece for the front with the Lada logo, and then the little turn signal pieces made on as well. Even the rear taillights printed with the license plate saying VAZ 2103. And you also do get the curved tile pieces with this as well, even with Lada printed onto the back. You also get a different type of steely than what's on the FSO. This type is meant for the little silver hubcaps you get with this as well. And instead of having a dark brown interior like the FSO did, this is more of a lighter brown color. Also with printing still around the windows, no stickers like they said. And I'm not sure what these are going to be used for, but these metallic silver tile pieces with the studs on the other side, that's definitely a cool piece that Lego doesn't make. And this has a different style bumper than what's on the FSO. The FSO didn't have any silver molded parts, they were all gray, so this car has some nice little silver details to the parts. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do a speed build of the full car, and then after I'm done, I can show you guys an up-close look at it and do a comparison to the FSO. Okay, so here's the car fully built. It took me about 15 minutes to build this car. This one did have about 6 more parts than the FSO, but I did finish this one about 5 minutes faster. Everything about this car did fit together pretty nicely, and I do like the result. This is definitely a good looking car, and I didn't notice any parts damaged or anything from the box. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my other tripod so we can get an up close look at this and compare it to the FSO. Okay, so here's the Lada 2103 up close. This definitely does remind you a lot of the FSO 125P, but to me, I personally kind of like this one better. I like the front and the rear of this car more than the FSO. You can definitely tell though with the yellow on this that it is different than Lego's plastic. It doesn't feel just as good as Lego plastic, but it is still pretty good, and all the yellow seems to match pretty good as well. You also do get the little printed brick that says Lada 2103. But this does only have one mirror on the driver's side, printed vents here in front of the windshield. All the silver and yellow trim for the pillars and everything are printed onto the windows. This does have the printed grille with the Lada logo. We'll have to check out the glow-in-the-dark headlights as well. And this does have a nice silver molded front and rear bumper. They are the same for the front and back. The wheels were definitely way easier to put on this time, and this has the little silver hubcap on the white steelies. And the car does roll nice and smooth. And the silver tiles with the studs on them was to put on the bottom of the car to make the little silver side skirt trim here. And nothing major on the base as well, just black, gray, and yellow. The interior is just the same seats that was in the FSO, but just in a lighter brown color, and the steering wheel on the left-hand side. Also does have all the curved tile pieces for the front, back, and the roof. And here's the back of the car. There's the little key slot here on the trunk and says Lada 1500. And also on the rear plate here, we have printed taillights, and the license plate says VAZ 2103. But overall, a nice little build and a cool looking car in the end. Luckily, everything was in good condition, but I still would not recommend getting these off Amazon, even though everything came good here and the box was crushed. The shipping was very slow, and with packing like that, something could have easily came broke. So this was the second variation of Lada. The Lada 2101 was the first Lada to be produced. The Lada 2101 was made from 1970 to 1988. The Lada 2103 came out in 1972 and was produced until 1983. So the Lada 2101 came out before this, but lasted longer than this. And the Lada 2101 is also a car that COBI does. I will be doing a review on it soon. And one of the main differences is the front end. It has 2 headlights instead of 4. Personally, to me, I like the Lada 2101 better, but this is definitely still a pretty nice looking car. These were 4-cylinder cars with about 74 horsepower, and they were rear-wheel drive. I will put a picture up on the screen of what the real Lada 2103 looks like. So if you don't know about Lada cars, they first came out in 1970 with the 2101 sedan. Lada also did a car called the Niva, which was a little 2-door 4x4 SUV. The Lada cars never really changed from 1970. They did have some subtle interior changes, wheels, and front and rear. These were very similar to the early Fiat 1500s and the Fiat 125Ps. And since Polski Fiat owned FSO, that's why they also did a similar car under that name, and Lada basically ripped off both of those cars. But the last Lada to ever be produced, that was the boxy style like this one, was the Lada Riva. That car was manufactured from 1982 to 2012 with subtle changes. It was a very basic, long-lasting vehicle, but that car has now been gone for about 9 years. So either way, I think this is a super cool car. Now I'm going to go ahead and compare this to the FSO, then I'll put this on the turntable, and that'll be about it for this video. Okay, so here is the FSO 125P compared to the Lada 2103. As I mentioned in the last video, FSO was owned by Polski Fiat, and this was basically the identical car to the Fiat 125P. And the Lada 2103 was also basically the Fiat 125P as well, but copied and sold as a Lada. So you can see a lot of similarities from the printing around the roof, besides the vents here are slightly different. This just has the little vent here on the bottom of the pillar instead of down here on the side by the window trim. The FSO also just has the regular steely with no hubcap. The Lada has hubcaps. Both of them just have one mirror and our left-hand drive. The vents here on the Lada are a little closer to the windshield than what's on the FSO. So you can see the fronts are very different as well. The bumpers are not silver on the FSO. The turn signals are printed onto the little slope brick and on the side of the headlights on the FSO instead of up on the front grille piece here on the Lada and down under the grille. Also, the FSO does not have any silver side trim either, and the back of the cars are pretty similar besides the taillights are different, as well as there is no printing on the rear slope trunk piece, just on the rear plate. So otherwise, these are definitely pretty cool cars, very similar cars, but there are some noticeable difference. So just like it did with the FSO, you can barely see it on camera, and it seems to fade out on camera quicker than what it actually does in person. Off camera, these do seem to actually last pretty long after you hold it up to the light for a few seconds. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the Lada on the turntable, and that'll be about it for this video. Okay, so that is about all for the video. If you enjoyed the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, check out my other most recent video on the FSO 125P. This is definitely a super cool car. Luckily, all the parts are okay, and I will have a few more videos of these coming up as well. And if you're not already, please follow my Instagram. It is itsjdmdrifter. I'll put it in the description as well. So again, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.